Everyone. I hope you are doing well. And I hope you are actually satisfied with your result in test 2. If you have any questions about your test results, you have 1 week to get back to me and just ask whatever questions you have. Or if you want to just go over your answers together and just talk about um, your grade or your plans for the rest of the semester. So let's begin and talk about chapter 7. We already talked a lot about chapter 7. Like whatever we said so far, it was all about Piaget and Vygotsky. This chapter, cognitive development chapter, is also about Piaget most of the time. Yes, we're going to talk about Vygotsky, but just Vygotsky also is just kind of similar to Piaget. But like, I feel like cognitive development theory by Piaget is just the essence of developmental psychology. So read that carefully. Make sure you're gonna understand each stage, because understanding each stage and sub-stage is also necessary for you, both in life, if you want to have a career in psychology, and also for your final project. So let's begin. The first question here is, what is cognition? I guess you know about this, but like a better answer, like a complete answer for that is higher order mental processes. So the question here is, what is higher order mental processes? Is it like the ability of just speaking to people? Is it like the ability of like doing a simple task? The answer for that is any sort of problem solving ability or some sort of reasoning, whether it could be communication between people, whether it could be like the ability of risk management, morality, all of them gonna be higher order mental processes because they are basically higher order. It's just basically more than everyday interaction and everyday behavior, right? Because, for example, if you want to communicate with people, you have to be smart. You have to understand what you should say and what maybe you shouldn't say. Same goes for problem solving. If you would have a specific task, a specific question, you know that you cannot use all of your knowledge for that specific task. You have to just wisely pick one aspect of your knowledge and just apply to the question. So those kind of stuff gonna be higher order mental processes. You already know Piaget. We talked about him all the time. He was inspired by biology. I know that we do have some people from biology, so I guess the whole idea of Piaget gonna be familiar for them. Piaget actually borrowed two concepts from biology. He thought everything in psychology, same as biology, gonna be based on two broad principles. Number one gonna be organization, number two gonna be adaptation. Based on adaptation, he came up with his own theory and idea. He said that everything is happening around children gonna have two aspects. Number one gonna be assimilation, which means that children, they do have some aspects of knowledge already in their brain. They're gonna fit any new experience based on the knowledge that they have. For example, if something happens today for them, they actually actively think that whether they could apply this new knowledge to the previous one and just fit this new knowledge to the previous one. And this process gonna be assimilation. Let's say, for example, they looked at their parents every day. Whenever parents, they are using microwave and they are warming up their meal every day. They can see that mom is just pushing the start button and gonna warm up the meal for them. Then gonna open the microwave door, gonna pick up the meal and gonna close the door. Okay. Same goes, for example, for turning on a TV. They can see that, yes, they're gonna use remote, and again, they're gonna push start button, and they're gonna just turn on TV. They're gonna look up for the channel that they want, maybe a cartoon for children. So they know that for like doing any sort of task, there are gonna be some sort of sequences. For example, they have to just look for a start. Then they have to, for example, for microwave, they have to just open the door, then put the meal inside and then close the door, that kind of stuff. Same goes for TV. Same goes, for example, turning on a car and using a car. So this kind of similar new experiences which have like some sort of sequence that's gonna be a simulation. Because yes, there is a new knowledge out there, but they have to fit this new knowledge based on the principle that they already have. We have another one. It is like accommodation. This is gonna be changing your cognitive structure based on the new experience. For example, let's say children, they're gonna play puzzles every day, right? So basically they know how puzzle works. You have to look at different pieces and you have to actually understand like the bigger picture and just set up those pieces based on the bigger picture, right? However, this is not the case, for example, for peekaboo or for, let's say, hide and seek game. It's just totally a different game. That kind of very new experience that is totally different with your current experience, let's say puzzles, gonna be accommodation. Because, for example, for hide and seek, they have to actually understand, okay, this is like totally different. There has to be at least like, for example, two people, one of them gonna just do the counting, another one like have, let's say, has some other task. So this is like whole new realm. And it's gonna be accommodation because like it's not really similar to the experience that you have, and you have to accommodate this new experience to the previous one. Like you have to add a new category for them. So the goal of these two broad category gonna be having some sort of balance in your cognitive system. Let's say, for example, if you would have a very new experience, you have to provide a balance based on the previous one. If it is like totally novel, you have to like open a new category. But if it is just kind of similar, you have to add it to the previous one. So maintaining balance within your cognitive system gonna be equilibration, if that makes sense. Here is a good meme that you can see that, for example, we have manga. Then based on manga, we have like anime. And you can see Netflix adaptation. So I hope it makes sense. So like these two concepts gonna be, let's say, the essence of this chapter and the next chapters actually, because like whenever we go and whenever we're gonna talk about children's development, we're gonna talk about how their cognitive system gonna develop. So always we have like these two categories for just experiences, exploring new experiences and that kind of stuff. So there are like some key concepts in Piaget's theory. Number one is he always looked at children as active creatures. Like we already know that children, they are not passive, they are active even from the beginning. They actually know what they want. And like actively, they are just trying to get what they want. Another term in Piaget's idea is constructive. He believed that cognitive development is constructive, and like children actively construct their brain structure, their cognitive development, and they are the person who actually do that, if that makes sense. It is not like mom or dad or peer would just do that for them. They are just active. They're going to interact with everybody in the environment, and they would do that for themselves. Like they would just develop their cognitive development by themselves. So again, they are not passive. We already know that. Okay, another point that actually I found it really interesting is like some sort of questions that actually show children they are just actively constructing their cognitive development. Is questions like, hey mom, how babies are made? It's just so common. They're gonna ask it like a lot. Because like I was one of those baby, like all the time I was just asking my parents, hey, how babies are made? Like it was my main question. Because like basically they didn't respond me in a good way. Like they were saying that, yeah, God actually making the babies. And I was like, no, it's not God's work. I know that. But like another question gonna be, where was I before I was born? So these kind of questions are some sort of sense making of the environment. Like they are just trying to figure out what's going on with everything, and it's actually showing that they are ready to develop cognitively. I do have some questions for you. I actually want you to just try to just think about real life examples of like different events that demand some sort of accommodation and assimilation. And that way you can understand how these two processes gonna work. Also, in your quiz, in quiz chapter 7, you're gonna have some questions with respect to your final project. So basically, I want you on top of this chapter 7, just go back, read final projects material, and just try to understand what's going on. Pick your option, know your own project, and that way you're going to be ready to answer quiz.